Welcome, American Horror Treasure.
American Horror Story thrived on a simple premise, a complete, isolated story every season. But in its 8th year, it broke that machinery. The anthology format worked because it allowed for real stakes. When a story is self-contained, character deaths are final, and every season offers a clean slate for the audience to invest in a new nightmare. Season 8, Apocalypse, abandoned this model. Instead of a standalone story, it attempted a massive crossover, forcing disparate seasons into a single shared universe. Successful cinematic universes take years to thread their pieces together. Apocalypse simply slammed them into one another, creating a narrative that required a decade of prior viewing to fully understand. This shift from anthology to crossover didn't expand the series. It highlighted the structural limits of forced interconnectivity, showing how a stable premise can be undermined by its own lore. The season opens with a complex premise, a post-nuclear bunker and a brand-new ensemble cast struggling to survive the fallout. 3 episodes in, the writers unceremoniously poison the entire group. In a single scene, every new character the audience was invited to follow is killed off. This narrative massacre served a specific function, clearing the board to make room for returning characters from earlier seasons. This graph shows the narrative investment built over the first 3 hours. When the cast is discarded so quickly, that investment line drops to 0 at the moment marked the massacre. Establishing an ensemble only to immediately discard them breaks the unspoken contract between the writer and the audience. It trains the viewer to stop caring about future stakes, because those stakes can be deleted at any moment. Merging the lore of witches, ghosts, and the Antichrist into a single timeline created immediate friction. The magic-based rules of one season often contradicted the established reality of another. To bridge these gaps, the internal logic had to bend. The villain, Michael Langdon, magically ages 10 years overnight, simply so the timeline can function. Because the show reused the same core actors for different roles across seasons, the crossover became a casting puzzle. Sarah Paulson was required to play 3 entirely separate characters in this single 10-episode run. The momentum of the present-day Apocalypse died as the show shifted into endless exposition dumps and convoluted backstories meant to justify these connections. Fan service became increasingly arbitrary. For example, Stevie Nicks appears in the bunker purely to perform a song, stopping the narrative cold for a moment of nostalgia. Reconciling incompatible lore transformed the survival horror into a confusing history lesson. The writers resolved the season's complexity with a car. A witch travels back in time and runs the villain over before his power can grow. This time travel reset effectively erases every consequence and character arc established in the previous 9 episodes. If the timeline no longer exists, the stakes of the entire season vanish instantly. Despite this structural reset, the season maintains a 75% approval rating. This chart compares the fragmented narrative on the left with the high critical score on the right. This suggests a trend in pop culture where the dopamine hit of recognizing a nostalgic reference is often mistaken for coherent, effective storytelling. Prioritizing cinematic universes and Easter eggs over consistent internal logic trades narrative integrity for fan service. In the end, it undermines the very qualities that made the original anthology successful.